Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I haven't been live in a few weeks. I've been on holiday, so thank you all for coming back. Thank you all. As you might have known or seen now, there is a slight change or a very large change in what my channel looks like and what the videos intro looks like, and there is an outro and some new things coming throughout the stream. So let me know what you thought of that intro. Took some time to put together and a little bit of investment, so I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. But yeah, so it's sort of a commitment to doing this as much as I possibly can for you all, and let me know what you guys think. So as we get started, so as you see there, for any of you guys who don't follow me on Twitter, so this is my page, FPL Tips. Make sure you guys go and check me out over there, and I will do my best to help you out as much as I can. So let me just put it out one more time, and then we'll get into everything. Let me know what you guys think of the new layout. Right, so let us move on. Let me move on. So now we will look at my team and how I got on for last game week. So today we're going to look at captaincy picks, double game week 24, blank game week 28, and then any questions that you guys have. Let me know what you guys think about the quality of the stream. I can see the chat is slightly blurred, but I can read it fine, so I'll happily answer any of your questions. So, no, can't quite see Gaita there. So, into my game week. So, this is game week 21. So, I scored in game week 21. I scored a 49 points. This is how my team was for that. A lot of those points. So Madison, Soyuncu doing most of it for me. Not much else really. Mane with an 8, I suppose. Trent. So Liverpool and Leicester sort of the main source of my points this week. A few blanks where I sort of didn't want them, and no Vardy, as you can see, he's there on my bench. So yeah. Not what I wanted from Vardy, but he should be back this week. He's back playing tonight, so we will definitely. I'll keep you updated on the scores for tonight's game. But yeah, so that was. Let me know how you guys got on in the game week. Any transfers you're already planning on making, and all of that. So a few players that I'm looking. Well, we'll get onto my sort of. We can go on here and we can look at transfers in a minute. But yeah, so the first key talking point this week is captaincy picks. Now, personally, I think if you've got Vardy or De Bruyne in your team, these are probably the two players that people are going to be captained. They'll be captained very heavily. It's just picking the right one, and for me, it will be Vardy that I'll be picking for this game week. And but you can definitely look at your Liverpool assets. So the likes of Salah and Mane, yes, they go away to Spurs, but I highly expect that there will be goals in that game, especially from Liverpool. So they're not a bad captaincy option, but I just favour the likes of De Bruyne and Vardy more in their sort of easier fixtures, let's say. So, guys, if we, well, I suppose there are a few other differential captains that you look at. So a lot of you will own Jimenez, a lot of you will own Jimenez or Rashford, and those two do have plum fixtures this week. So there's definitely two options that you could be looking at. Yeah, Jimenez and Rashford. So if we look at my team now, where's my, there we go. If we just take a look at my team here, so these are the sort of my 15, and currently I leave on the bench Gibson, Kelly, and Greenwood. And I'll just show you the sort of transfers that I'm looking to make, and you guys feel free to suggest any transfers that you would make going forward. So what I'm thinking of is Dele Alli out. Actually, this isn't going to work quite so well. I might need to sort this. But anyway, which would leave me with 8.8 in the bank, and then be replaced with, when my computer loads, Riyad Mahrez. So then I'd be looking at that, and then going forward, I would potentially be removing Martial and Ben Gibson to be replaced with Robertson and Isaac Hayden, just because Hayden plays in game week 28, which we'll get onto, and I could put in someone like Cantwell, but he doesn't play that game week. So for me, it would be Hayden. So this is how I then looked line up going into game week 24, the double game week. So that moves nicely on. So game week 24, and there's been a lot of chat around the sort of preparation of how we should best tackle game week 24. So I'm personally going with the double Liverpool defence and Mane. I don't have the budget, the squad value, or the way in to get Salah in my team, and I can see why people think it's a sort of good option to get the Salah Mane double up. But I personally don't have the room, and it would require too much of. It would take too much surgery in order to get them into my team. So game week 24 will have a double for Liverpool and West Ham. Now West Ham have two very difficult games, so I wouldn't advise looking at their assets. If you have one on your bench, then play them in those two games, but apart from that, I wouldn't be playing them. So opinions on, asked in the chat by Charlie, opinions on Firmino as a differential, great away form, punt leading up to and until the double game week. I think that's, I like Firmino, especially with his away form, and I like those stats on a Firmino's away form. Although after game week 24, we can see, so if I get it up here, Liverpool's fixtures are very strong after game week 24. So Southampton, Norwich, West Ham, Watford, Bournemouth. There you go. You might be able to see that better now. No, you can't. So those are the games, and I would want a triple up after these games anyway, and I wouldn't want Firmino to be that third option. So I would be going with one of the others. I'm not sure Firmino is the way forward because he's a great footballer and is so pinnacle to that Liverpool side, but the attacking assets aren't always there from him. So for me, I want that triple up going forward, and so I'm investing for the long run here. The other option that I am looking to bring in is Riyad Mahrez. So he has a few good games on the horizon and does look to be playing. He does look to be playing in the team at the moment, so definitely one that I might be taking a punt on this week. Evening, Andrew. So the teams who missed game week 28, so currently it's looking like it will be Man City, Arsenal, Norwich and Leicester. Now these aren't confirmed, and it will be dependent on who goes through the Carabao Cup games. So Man City won the first leg 3-1 last night, and Leicester play at the moment against Aston Villa. So the winners of those legs will go through, and their matches in game week 28 will likely result in a blank. So this is why in my team I have the budget from when I'm selling Martial to bring in Hayden. So if I just refresh my team to what it currently looks like, when I sell Martial to bring in Hayden, it's because Hayden plays in that game week 28, and the likes of, well, Cantwell likely won't play because Leicester will make them have a blank. So you brought Martial and you brought Aguero in on your wild card. I personally, well, he did get rested. He didn't play, but nor did Jesus. So I probably would just look. I mean, yeah, I think it's not worth the risk of having in your team. If you don't have Vardy, well, that's definitely an easy switch for me. But I think there are other options, especially maybe looking in the midfield to fund the Mane Salah double up. If you could sell Aguero in order to afford that, would definitely be a good option. So just going on to that game week 28, yeah, so that's sort of why I will be bringing in probably Hayden instead of Cantwell, and that would leave me when it gets to it with Soyuncu, De Bruyne, Maddison and Vardy all blanking in game week 28, which is not ideal, which would leave me with 10 players. So one of Soyuncu and Maddison are probably going to make way. I will bench Vardy and De Bruyne because of the value that I've built up in them. But Maddison, I have little value built up in them, and Soyuncu is of course the cheapest, so it'll be one of these two that make way for that game week. Yeah. It's worth thinking about now. You don't need to be ripping your teams apart already to be planning for that game week. However, when you're making transfers, you're thinking about bringing in a cheap player just to sit on your bench. Make sure you're bringing them in and not bringing in maybe Norwich players who don't then have a game in that week if Leicester progress in the cup. So can I tell you why you should take the armband off Mane, please? So I personally do like Mane as a captaincy option, but I just prefer Vardy. I think he's been out for a few weeks. He's back. He's ready. He wants to get back onto that score sheet. He'll want to get back straight away as fast as possible. So yeah, I just think I can't ignore Vardy this week if you own him. My captaincy thread, which is coming out after this stream over on Twitter, sort of highlights that Vardy and De Bruyne are the top two captaincy options this week, and they'll both have effective ownership of over 100%. So effective ownership combines the percentage of people who own him and the amount that captain him. So if it's over 100%, that means so many people have him and captain them, that if you have him and don't captain him, then returning points gives you a red arrow. So Mane will fall below 100% due to his fixture, but De Bruyne and Vardy will both be 100, over 100. So for me, captaining Vardy or De Bruyne is sort of a shield pick. Evening Sponge, expecting other blanks apart from 28. Why not free hit and go with 28? If you own Vardy and KDB, then I probably wouldn't go Mane as captain because he'll still get you a green arrow even if he scores. So yes, there will be Sponge. Hello, there will be blanks. It will probably be around 31 and 33 are normally when we get them. So there will definitely be blanks that are other than 28 that you will want your free hit for. Absolutely, there'll be other blanks. So Josh asks, best replacement for Gazaniga. So there are quite a few sort of goalkeeper options. And if we know, which one is it? Fixtures, here we go. So we just go on here now and look at the fixtures. So we'd probably be looking for slightly longer than 7 weeks at captaincy options. So if we put it up to 10, which is the highest that it goes, it's just loading for you. No, it's gone down to 6. Give me a minute. Yeah, there we go. Just quickly in the chat. Hi, Lucas. So Mahrez, Maddison, or Sigurdsson for the next 2. So definitely wouldn't be Sigurdsson. I'd rather Richarlison over Sigurdsson. I would probably go with Mahrez short term if it's just 2 weeks, but long term, Maddison is the best option. What do I think of Salah, Mane, Trent triple up? I think it's a good option if you can afford it, but it's a luxury that many of us, including myself, can't afford, and I will be going with the double Liverpool defence. You won't be captaining De Bruyne. Well, the thing is, you worry that he's going to get put back into the slightly more defensive role, although last night he was practically playing up front. So I understand that, and I won't be captaining him. Mane and Vardy will rotate captaincy for me, and De Bruyne will keep ticking along. But for me, it has to be Vardy this week. So if we look over the next 10 game weeks at who's got the best fixtures, looking at this, which sort of gets updated, dependent on fixtures. So we see a few sort of cheap goalkeepers that you would want to be looking at. But the one I want to call out here is this Brighton. So I personally think Ryan is definitely a strong goalkeeper option, especially over the short term. Ryan would probably be the one that I would go to. There are a couple of others, so the cheap options that people may want to look at. So if we go down to Crystal Palace, Gaeta, after this Man City game, his fixtures are much better. So maybe looking at him. Sheffield United, so Henderson is also a nice option. He does have Arsenal and City, but Arsenal away, City at home it's not the worst fixtures. So, but I would probably be going Matt Ryan as my best option. So again, Salah or KDB. If that's for captain, 1-0 Villa. Let me just confirm. It is scored by Gilbert. Well, that is very interesting. Imagine if Leicester didn't blank in game week 20. Thanks, guys, for letting me know. If Leicester didn't blank, then I still expect them to go through, but that's an interesting start to the tie. It's good to see Aston Villa turning up because you worry with injuries and stuff that they might struggle. What formation are they really playing? Because we don't know who they're playing up front. So in terms of goalkeepers, I would go Matt Ryan as my number one choice. Gazaniga to Ryan, Henson or Gaeta, you choose which. Wouldn't worry about goalkeeper for a while. Yeah, I would just sort of set them in. I quite like Gaeta, but a lot of us have Kelly, although it looks like Kelly's stay in the team is short-lived at the moment. So in terms of that question earlier, so we had Mahrez, Maddison, or Richarlison. So Grealish false 9, that's quite interesting. So if we go to 4 game weeks, so in terms of 3 game weeks, so if we go 3 game weeks here, Everton, Leicester and Man City are all very high up there in the fixture tracker. So Everton have the easiest because Brighton and Newcastle both fall at home. Leicester have Southampton and West Ham both at home, whereas Man City have 2 away games and 1 home game, which is why it makes it slightly more difficult for them. But still nice fixtures for all 3. So long term, I would be looking at Maddison, but short term, I like Mahrez. If we move it up slightly, so if we go to 5 game weeks, Everton still stay there because after Newcastle they face Watford and Crystal Palace. Man City still stay there. And Leicester still up there, but they start to fall with Chelsea and Wolves. So it's tough, but I would go, if you're going to keep them long term, I'd go Maddison, but short term, I wouldn't go Maddison just because of his lack of explosivity. So best cheap third striker, Maupay or Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So we can go, and if we have a look, I was having a look at this earlier, and if we go on this one, I don't know which screen is best me using for this. Is this going to be right? Or maybe I should, no, I'll go on here. This will show it best for you. There we go. So forwards, if we sort by price, so we can go and have a look for you. So Mousset down here at 4.8, but you have more money to spend than that, right? So it's around the sort of 6 million. If you don't have Ings, then it has to be Ings. Oh, you can't stretch to Ings. I would, to be honest, I'd still think about taking a -4 to fund Ings by downgrading someone else, because he's definitely the number one option. And those fixtures, especially after Leicester, just do look good going forward. I don't have Ings, and he's definitely in my thoughts. If you really don't want to take that -4, I am tempted by maybe one of the Watford guys. So their fixtures are a bit mixed. Yeah, Maupay I do quite like. I would probably go Maupay as my pick out of those two, just because of his fixtures longer term. So I'd go Maupay out of those two if you definitely cannot get Ings. So yeah, we'll just go and put my team back in. But yeah, guys, keep firing any questions away. Is it still, yeah, still 1-0? No problem, Sponge. So yeah, so Mahrez is the one that I'm going to be looking at. So I've been making the decision between Mahrez and Richarlison, and I'm currently thinking Mahrez, but just seems slightly more entertaining for me. Spice it up a little bit. So if I want a wild card now, what would I prioritize? So for me, if I wild carded now, the way my team would look, probably Matt Ryan in goal with someone else with him. But I'd go Matt Ryan and McCarthy of Southampton in goal. So then you have two goalkeepers ready for when you play your bench boost. In defence, I would have Soyuncu, Trent, Lundstrom, Robertson, and then a cheap maybe Charlie Taylor, someone like that, just to make up the fourth number. And then in my midfield, I'd probably go Maddison, Mane, De Bruyne, and then maybe Campbell and Hayden, and I'd be playing a 4-3-3, and then that would have probably Vardy, Ings, and then depending on how much money you've got left over, Rashford, Tammy, or Jimenez as the third striker. That's how I'd look if I was to play my wildcard now. So if I do that for you, so the changes that I would be making to my team, it would look something like this. So Charlie, this is how I would wildcard at the moment. It's worth having McCarthy just because he's playing and he's the cheapest playing goalkeeper in the game, just to make up those numbers for you. Charlie Taylor of Burnley, not Aston Villa. So on a wild card, it may look like something like this. So I would actually have the exact cash to do this. I surprisingly have exact money in my to do this. So it would look something like this, and I'd be playing a 4-3-3. But if you wanted that Salah Mane double up, yeah, Sponge, Mahrez in for Ali is a short-term move that I'm definitely thinking of doing. So this is how I would wildcard probably. If I really wanted that Salah Mane double up, so Robertson would have to go, Jimenez would have to go, and Cantwell would probably have to go, and they would be filled in. So if we put Salah in, I'd probably still want Jimenez, but I'm really getting short on cash here if I put Jimenez in, because we'd want to be playing a 3-4-3. So this would it really cuts you. You'd probably have to get rid of Maddison, get someone like Grealish in here. Good evening, JNO. If any of you guys don't follow JNO on Twitter, go and check him out. Does a lot of YouTube stuff, so definitely worth checking him out. Really good content. So yeah. So if I wanted to, I mean, this is the thing, I'm still 2.6 million short. Sponge, I'm not hitting the wild card, but this just shows if you want the Salah Mane double up, quite how much my team would have to change and how much I'd have to take out my team in order to afford that, which is why I personally don't advise it as a strategy. It might pay off well in that double game week, but I think long term it changes your team too much and it changes the balance of it too much. So yeah, so for me, the sort of transfers that I'm looking at would be Ali out this week for Mahrez, and then Martial out, and Gibson out to get Robertson in to go for the double Liverpool defence is the way I'm planning on doing it, and keeping Mahrez for sort of 3, 4, 5 weeks is the plan at the moment. I do like him as a punt. There's been a lot of chat around him recently in the community. So yeah, is something that I really like the look of, and it may backfire. If I keep him for 5 weeks, I hope he plays 4 of the 5. And I expect him to get benched at least once, but I hope it's only once. So guys, I suppose there's not that much that you guys wanted talking about. So unless you've got any more, just get your sort of final questions in. I hope you guys like the new sort of layout and the new design, and the new intro video, and we have a short outro one to come in a minute, so please stick around and watch that when it comes on. So yeah, but it took a lot of time and investment. So while I was away on holiday, not putting out content, I was still sort of focusing on it for you guys. If my team structure allowed it, would you prefer the double up? I mean, if money was not, this is the thing. I've seen a few things, and I replied to a few things on Twitter where it says, "Oh, the midfield double up is the way to go. They've got the high ceiling. End of story." It's not quite as simple as that due to the value and price that you have to pay, because the amount of value that Trent and Robert offer is second to none in players. So I personally, maybe for the double game week, I'd go for that, but long term, over the fixtures after that, I would not be going with the Salah Mane double up, no, because I think it would affect my team too much. Yeah, this is another thing. It depends on your squad value. So my squad value isn't that high because I play my wildcard late, which means I don't get quite enough squad value. So is that as another impact on it. So if you have a high squad value, it then makes it much easier to get them into your team. So yeah, definitely is someone. Definitely is something to consider if you do have a high squad value. If you've got a low squad value, then I really wouldn't advise it. So, do I really think Liverpool will keep a clean sheet versus Spurs, United, and Wolves? So they have. So Liverpool down here, Spurs away, United, Wolves, West Ham. So I personally do see a clean sheet in probably one of those, but I won't be doubling up on the defence until game week 24. I wouldn't mind doubling up on defence. I imagine they keep a clean sheet against Spurs or Man U because those two sides have not been good enough recently. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad option at all. Anyway, guys, if you guys don't have any more questions, then I will see you next week. Please let me know, message me on Twitter or in the comments what you guys think of the new layout. Whether it's an improvement, I really like it and I'm enjoying it a lot. And thank you guys so much for the continued support that I'm continuing to get. It's really, really incredible. So I will say thank you. If you've got any questions, come and see me on Twitter and I will do my best to answer them. If not, good luck in game week 22. Remember that it is a Friday night deadline. We have Sheffield United versus West Ham on Friday evening. So do not miss that. Make sure you're there. And I will see you all next week. Thanks, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Enjoy the outro.